Welcome to the Pursuit Chronicles, where hidden truths, bold journeys, and untold stories come to life. Get ready to chase the extraordinary. Julian Voss was a man who had everything the world could offer, yet nothing his heart truly desired. At 42, he was the billionaire CEO of Horizon Technologies, a San Francisco-based empire that dominated artificial intelligence and biotechnology. His neural implants restored cognitive function to the elderly, his predictive algorithms saved millions from pandemics, and his quantum processors powered global logistics with unmatched efficiency. His name was etched on Forbes lists, his face stared from Time covers, and his wealth, billions in cash, stocks, and assets, was more than he could spend in 10 lifetimes. His Pacific Heights mansion, a modernist fortress of glass and steel, overlooked the Golden Gate Bridge, its rooms filled with rare art, a private cinema, and a garage housing a fleet of luxury cars. A Tesla Roadster, a vintage Aston Martin, a sleek Bugatti. Yet for all his riches, Julian was profoundly alone, his heart a vault locked against the world. The mansion's library, lined with leather-bound books, Plato, Asimov, Sun Tzu, was his only solace, its cedar-scented air a refuge from the emptiness that haunted him. Julian's life was a paradox, opulent yet barren, celebrated yet solitary. His only constant was Maria Torres, his housekeeper of a decade, a warm, no-nonsense woman in her 50s who cooked his meals and kept the mansion pristine. She saw the loneliness in his eyes, offering quiet wisdom, but even she couldn't fill the void. Julian had dated before, models, heiresses, tech prodigies, but their affection was tainted by his wealth, their smiles calculated, their love a transaction. He craved someone who would love him for who he was, not for his bank account or his empire. The betrayal of his early years, when a college friend stole his first AI patent and left him penniless, had scarred him, teaching him to guard his trust like a fortress. Women saw dollar signs, not Julian, and he was tired of it. One foggy evening, as he sat in his library sipping bourbon, the city's lights twinkling below, Julian devised a plan. To find true love, he would shed his billionaire persona and become someone ordinary, someone invisible to the world's greed. He would pose as a delivery driver, a job humble enough to mask his wealth, driving a beat-up van through San Francisco's streets. No one would suspect the man in a faded jacket was a tech titan. If a woman loved him then, it would be for his heart, not his empire. The idea sparked a flicker of hope, a chance to rewrite his story. The next morning, Julian acted swiftly. He bought an old delivery van online, its paint chipped, its engine wheezing, perfect for his disguise. He traded his tailored suits for a worn jacket, jeans, and a baseball cap, his Rolex replaced by a cheap digital watch. Horizon's operations were left to his trusted COO, Priya Sharma, who raised an eyebrow at his sabbatical, but asked no questions. Julian signed up with a local delivery app, his identity hidden behind a fake name, Jay Carter. By noon, he was on the road, navigating the city's hills, delivering packages to homes, offices, and corner stores. The first weeks were a revelation, driving through San Francisco's eclectic neighborhoods, Chinatown's bustling markets, the Mission's vibrant murals, Nob Hill's stately mansions. Julian felt a freedom he'd never known. Customers were a mix, some curt, some chatty, most indifferent, barely glancing at the man handing them their groceries or gadgets. Julian didn't mind. Anonymity was his shield. He picked up orders from restaurants, pharmacies, and warehouses, his van rattling with each turn, the radio playing old rock to drown out the engine's groans. Yet, as days passed, he noticed a pattern. Women who flirted with him, waitresses. Shop clerks, customers, often hinted at money, asking about his side hustles or joking about upgrading his van. Their interest faded when he played the part of a struggling driver, their smiles dimming at his lack of ambition. One woman, a stylish boutique owner named Vanessa, seemed promising at first. She was charming, her laughter bright as she accepted her delivery of designer dresses. She lingered, asking Julian about his life, her eyes warm. But soon she probed. Did he own property, have savings, know anyone connected? When he shrugged, Claiming he barely made rent, her texts stopped. Vanessa wasn't interested in Jay Carter, only in what he might become. Julian's hope waned, his plan seeming foolish. Maybe true love was a fantasy, a relic of books, not reality. Maybe all women, like Vanessa, saw only wealth or potential, not the man beneath. One rainy afternoon, as he parked near a Mission District grocery store, a young woman caught his eye. She stood under an awning, shielding herself from the drizzle, her worn backpack slung over one shoulder. She waved for a delivery pickup, and Julian pulled over, his van creaking. Her name was Lila Hayes, a 29-year-old with chestnut hair tied in a loose braid, hazel eyes that held a quiet strength, and a smile that was tired but genuine. She handed him a bag of groceries, her voice soft but clear. "Thanks for braving the rain," she said, her tone warm, not transactional. Julian nodded, struck by her simplicity. Unlike others, she didn't size him up or fish for details. She asked about his day, her curiosity unforced, and when he mentioned the van's quirks, she laughed, sharing a story about her old bike's wobbly wheel. When he dropped her off at a modest apartment, she paid through the app, thanked him, and walked away, her figure fading into the rain. Julian sat in the van, the engine idling, a strange peace settling over him. There was something real about Lila, something untainted by the games he'd grown used to. Days passed, and Julian couldn't shake Lila from his mind. He wondered if she'd call for another delivery, if their brief exchange had meant anything. His deliveries continued, boxes of electronics, bags of takeout, crates of produce. But his thoughts drifted to her. Then, one sunny morning, as he drove through the Mission, he spotted her walking, her backpack heavy with books. He slowed, offering a ride, his heart racing. "On the house," he said, grinning. Lila hesitated, then smiled, climbing in. "You're too nice for a delivery guy," she teased, buckling up. They talked as he drove, Lila sharing snippets of her life. She was a part-time librarian and freelance tutor, working to support her younger sister, Emma, a high school junior. Money was tight, but Lila was content, her pride in her sister's dreams palpable. She asked Julian about his life as Jay, her questions simple: favorite music, worst delivery mishap, why he liked the job. For the first time, Julian felt seen, not as a billionaire or a driver, but as a person. When he dropped her off, she didn't ask for favors or hint at more, just waved and said, "See you around, Jay." Their encounters grew frequent, Lila calling for deliveries or catching rides when their paths crossed. Each time they talked more, their conversations weaving a fragile bond. Lila spoke of her love for poetry, her dream of publishing, her late parents who'd taught her to find joy in small things. Julian, as Jay, shared carefully curated truths, his love for sci-fi, his knack for fixing things, his belief in hard work. He admired Lila's humility, her resilience, how she never complained despite her struggles. She didn't ask for handouts, didn't pry into his finances, didn't care that his van was a relic. Yet doubt gnawed at him. Would she love him if she knew he was Julian Voss, the billionaire? Was her kindness genuine, or would his wealth change her, as it had others? To test her, he leaned into his disguise, complaining about late payments, joking about his empty wallet. Lila's response was a soft smile. "Money's overrated, Jay. It's the people in your life that matter. Kindness, honesty, that's what counts." Julian's heart raced, her words a balm to his cynicism, but he wasn't ready to reveal the truth. He needed to be sure. Meanwhile, a shadow loomed over Julian's empire. Marcus Kane, CEO of Apex Innovations, was gunning for Horizon. At 45, Marcus was a charismatic predator, his charm masking a ruthless ambition to overtake Horizon in the AI race. Apex lagged in innovation but excelled in sabotage, poaching engineers, undercutting contracts, spreading rumors of Horizon's unstable implants. Marcus saw Julian's reclusiveness as a weakness, a lone wolf ripe for defeat. His latest move was a bid to partner with Sofia Alvarez, a Mexican biotech magnate whose gene-editing patents could revolutionize Horizon's neural implants. Sophia, 55, valued trust in relationships, inviting Julian and Marcus to a Mexico City summit to pitch their visions. Her email was blunt: "Bring a partner to the closing dinner. I invest in people, not just tech." Marcus would bring his wife, a polished socialite who charmed investors. Julian, as himself, had no partner, and attending alone would let Marcus paint him as detached, unfit for Sophia's trust. The summit was weeks away, and Julian's double life, billionaire by day, driver by night, made finding a solution urgent. As Julian's connection with Lila deepened. He picked her up from the library, drove her to tutoring gigs, each ride a chance to talk, laugh, and share. One evening, as they parked near her apartment, the sunset painting the sky orange, Lila showed him a poem she'd written, scribbled in a worn notebook. It was about resilience, finding light in dark times, and Julian read it aloud, his voice soft, her words stirring something in him. "This is beautiful," he said, handing it back. "You're going to be famous someday." Lila laughed, her cheeks flushing. "I just want to be heard, Jay. That's enough." Their eyes met, a spark igniting, but Julian held back. He wasn't. Jay Carter, and the lie weighed heavier each day. He wanted to tell her the truth, to ask her to the summit as his partner, but fear stopped him. Would she hate him for the deception? Would his wealth change her, as it had others? To test her. Further, Julian staged a scenario. One rainy night, he forgot his wallet, claiming he couldn't afford gas. "I'm such an idiot," he muttered, feigning embarrassment. Lila didn't hesitate, pulling a crumpled 10 from her bag. "Here, Jay, get yourself some coffee, too. You look beat." When he tried to refuse, she insisted, her smile firm. "We help each other, right?" Julian took the money, his throat tight. She wasn't Vanessa chasing wealth or Amina from the sample, demanding more. Lila was different, her kindness rooted in empathy, not expectation. Yet the summit loomed, and Julian faced a choice. Reveal his identity and risk losing her, or attend alone and risk losing Sophia's partnership. The decision came to a head one evening at Lila's apartment, a cramped but cozy space with books stacked on every surface. Julian, as Jay had driven her home, and she'd invited him in for tea, a rare gesture. As they sat at her tiny kitchen table, the radio playing softly, Lila asked about his dreams. "You're too smart to just drive packages forever, Jay. What do you want out of life?" Julian hesitated, the weight of his lie pressing down. He wanted to tell her about Horizon, the mansion, the summit, but fear held him back. Instead, he spoke half-truths, saying he wanted to build something lasting, to find someone who saw him for who he was. Lila's eyes softened. "You will. Jay, you're a good man. Anyone would be lucky to have you." The words broke him. He couldn't lie anymore. Taking a deep breath, Julian set down his mug. "Lila, there's something I need to tell you. I'm not who you think I am." Her brow furrowed, but she nodded, urging him to continue. He told her everything. He was Julian Voss, not Jay Carter, a billionaire who'd posed as a driver to find true love. He explained the summit, Sophia's dinner, his fear that wealth would taint any connection. "I didn't mean to deceive you," he said, his voice raw. "I just wanted to know if someone could love me for me. And then I met you, and you're everything I've been searching for." Lila sat silent, her expression unreadable, the air heavy with tension. Julian braced for anger, for rejection, but Lila's eyes glistened with tears. "You lied to me, Julian," she said, her voice steady but hurt. "But I get why. People judge you for what you have, not who you are. I fell for Jay because he was kind, thoughtful, real. If you're still that man, then I don't care about the money." Julian's heart soared, relief flooding him. "I am that man, Lila, and I need you. There's a summit in Mexico City, a dinner where I have to bring someone. Will you come with me, as my partner?" Lila hesitated, then smiled, a spark returning to her eyes. "All right, Julian, but no more lies, okay?" He nodded, grinning. "No more lies." The next week was a whirlwind of preparation. Julian brought Lila to Horizon's campus, a futuristic sprawl of glass and greenery, where Priya briefed her on the summit, Sophia's values, and Marcus's tactics. Lila absorbed it all, her librarian's mind cataloging details, her questions sharp. Marcus. "Sounds like a bully," she said, studying his profile. "He'll try to make you look weak. Don't let him." Julian chuckled, impressed. "You're hired." Priya arranged a stylist, and Lila chose a navy gown, simple but elegant, her poise natural. They crafted a backstory. They'd met through a tech project, bonded over ethics, and were taking things slow. Lila suggested small gestures, shared smiles, light touches, to sell the ruse, her ease calming Julian's nerves. At his mansion, she marveled at the library, pulling out Dune. "You're a nerd," she teased, and Julian laughed, the space feeling alive with her presence. They shared stories, Lila reading her poetry, Julian confessing his fears of failure. Their bond deepened, the lie replaced by truth, their connection a fragile but growing flame. The Mexico City summit was held at a historic hotel, its courtyards lush with bougainvillea, its halls buzzing with tech elite. Julian and Lila arrived arm in arm, her gown shimmering, his tailored suit a return to his true self. Marcus Kane was there, his wife Elena, dripping in pearls, her smile a practiced weapon. Marcus's handshake was a vice, his grin predatory. "Voss didn't expect you to bring a date. Who's this?" Lila stepped forward, her handshake firm. Lila Hayes, Julian's partner. Marcus's eyes narrowed, but Elena gushed, charmed. "How did you meet?" Lila's response was smooth. "A tech project. Julian's passion for ethics drew me in. He's stubborn but worth it." Julian stifled a grin, playing along. "She keeps me honest." Sofia Alvarez arrived, a commanding woman with dark hair and a warm but piercing gaze. She greeted Julian, her eyes lingering on Lila. "I'm glad you brought someone, Julian. Tell me about yourself, Lila." Lila wove their story with ease, blending her librarian's poise with genuine warmth, asking Sofia about her biotech journey. Sofia laughed, impressed. "You're a listener. That's rare." The panels were a battlefield, Marcus boasting about Apex's drones, hinting at Horizon's risky implants. Julian countered with data, detailing Horizon's ethical standards, but Marcus's barbs were relentless. Lila, in the audience, whispered to Julian during a break, "He's posturing. Stay calm. Sofia's watching you." Her clarity grounded him, a reminder of her strength. The closing dinner was held in a candlelit salon, its table adorned with orchids and crystal. Sofia sat at the head, Marcus and Elena to her left, Julian and Lila to her right. Marcus dominated, his charm masking jabs at Horizon's overhyped tech. Elena played her part, her anecdotes polished, but Lila was the surprise. She spoke of her work with underserved students, her belief in tech as a tool for equity, her words earnest yet powerful. When Marcus sneered at Horizon's idealism, Lila countered, her voice steady. "Idealism builds trust, Mr. Kane. Without it, tech's just a race to the bottom." The table fell silent, Sofia's eyes gleaming with approval, Marcus's smile tightening. Sofia turned to Julian and Lila, her tone personal. "How do you balance your lives with such demanding paths?" Julian hesitated, but Lila answered, her hand brushing his. "It's about connection. Julian's driven, but he makes time for what matters, like debating old sci-fi books." Sofia laughed, charmed. "That's true partnership." As dessert arrived, Sofia leaned toward Julian. "Horizon's vision is bold, but it's your integrity I trust. Lila, you're his anchor. That's invaluable." Marcus's jaw clenched, his plan unraveling. After dinner, Sofia pulled Julian aside. "I'm partnering with Horizon. Your work and your partner convince me. Let's finalize tomorrow." Julian nodded, relief surging. "Thank you, Sofia." Marcus cornered him later, his voice low. "Cute trick, Voss. Parading a small-town girl to win Sofia's heart? It won't last." Julian met his gaze, unflinching. "You underestimated us, Marcus. That's your loss." Back in San Francisco, Julian faced a new challenge. His parents, Edward and Clara Voss, who lived in a Palo Alto estate. They'd met his past dates, all from elite circles, and expected a match of equal status. Julian invited Lila to meet them, nervous but resolute. The estate was grand, its gardens manicured, its halls lined with art. Edward, a retired banker, and Clara, a former diplomat, greeted Lila politely, but their smiles were thin. Over dinner they probed her background, their questions laced with judgment. "A librarian," Clara said, her tone cool. "Charming, but Julian's world demands sophistication." Edward was blunter. "Our son's empire requires a partner who understands wealth, connections. You're lovely, Lila, but you're not from our sphere." Lila held her head high, her voice calm. "I understand love, Mr. Voss. That's what Julian needs, not another deal." Julian's heart swelled, but his parents' disapproval stung. Furious, Julian confronted them. "You don't know her. She's kind, brilliant, and she loves me for me, not my money. Isn't that what you wanted?" Clara sighed. "Love isn't." "Enough, Julian. Marriage is about legacy, alliances." Edward nodded. "You're our heir. Choose wisely." Their words echoed Desmond's parents in the sample, prioritizing status over heart. Julian refused to bend, taking Lila's hand. "She's my choice. If you can't accept that, you're the ones losing." They left, Lila's silence heavy. In the car, she spoke softly. "I don't want to tear your family apart, Julian." He squeezed her hand. "You're my family now. We'll figure this out." The fallout was swift. Edward, controlling Horizon's board, threatened to freeze Julian's assets and oust him as CEO unless he reconsidered Lila. Marcus, sensing weakness, escalated his attacks, leaking rumors of Horizon's financial woes to the press. Julian fought back, rallying his team, countering Marcus's lies with transparent reports. Lila stood by him, her strength unwavering, her poetry a quiet anchor. She wrote a piece about love defying odds, publishing it. Online, its viral spread drawing support from Horizon's community. Priya, a fierce ally, uncovered Marcus's leaked emails, exposing his sabotage to Sophia, who cut ties with Apex. Marcus's empire crumbled, his investors fleeing, his hubris his undoing. Edward's resolve weakened as Horizon thrived and public sentiment turned against his ultimatum. Lila's poem, shared widely, reached Clara, who saw its raw honesty. One evening, Clara visited Julian's mansion, alone. "I was wrong," she said, tears in her eyes. "Lila's heart is what matters. I want my son happy," Edward followed, grudgingly admitting his error, swayed by Clara and Horizon's success. They welcomed Lila, their apologies sincere, their estate opening to her. Julian proposed months later, not with a ring, but with a first edition Dune, a note inside. "Build our story with me?" Lila laughed, tears falling, and said yes. Their wedding was intimate, on a Monterey cliff, Maria cooking, Priya toasting, Emma as maid of honor. Lila's gown was simple, Julian's suit tailored but understated, their vows a promise of truth and trust. Horizon flourished, its implants saving lives, its AI fostering equity. Lila published her poetry collection, dedicating it to Julian. Their daughter, Maya, born years later, inheriting their love for words and ideas. Marcus faded, a footnote in text history, while Julian and Lila built a legacy of connection, proving that love, not wealth, is the truest empire. Thanks for watching the Pursuit Chronicles. If the story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because the pursuit never ends.